In the small town of Greenwood, a mystery that had puzzled residents for over a decade was about to unravel in the most unexpected way. Nathan, who had disappeared as a 7-year-old boy, walked out of the woods that edged the town, now a teenager with the scars of survival etched into his face. His return was as sudden as his disappearance, leaving the community in shock and disbelief. Nathan wasn't alone, his eyes hinting at untold stories of survival and solitude. The question on everyone's lips was what had happened to him during those lost years. But as Nathan finally spoke, it became clear that the woods had kept more secrets than just his whereabouts. But before we start, smash the like button and make sure to subscribe if you haven't, and hit that notification bell so that you won't miss any new stories. Jenny lit the small candle beside the picture of her son. She picked up the picture frame and pressed a soft kiss to the chubby cheeks like she had done every day for the past 11 years. It had been exactly 11 years since she'd seen Nathan. Today was the anniversary of the day he disappeared. She could still remember it like it was yesterday. On normal days, she wouldn't let herself think about it, but now she let her mind drift back to that fateful day. It had been a beautiful day. Bright blue skies, the sun high and warm. Nathan had woken up early, as he always did on the morning of his birthday. She'd made him his favorite breakfast pancakes drenched in maple syrup and had given him a few of the smaller gifts she had bought him. The biggest one stood in the middle of the living room waiting to be omtesteraiches na mol. To this day, the gift has not been even so cool. To this day, the gift has not been unwrapped. Jenny had gone over the details many times over the years, searching for something she may have missed. A clue, a direction. There hadn't been a single sign in the following days either. The police and the search parties, they didn't find anything, and eventually they stopped looking. In the years that followed, Jenny had torn through her house in the hopes of finding a shred of evidence. She had hired several private investigators and had even gone to a mystic. It was a small town, Greenwood, and it hadn't been the same since the day Nathan disappeared. The townspeople who had helped so valiantly in the search all those years ago seemed to finally understand that she didn't want to be reminded every single day. So when she first heard the whispers going around town that a young man had been spotted at the edge of the woods, she didn't even think it could be her son. Then the police officers rang her doorbell. She could see them through the window, the sight so much like that of 11 years ago that it stole her breath. "Mom," one of the officers called. Jenny opened the door with shaking hands. "We think we found your son." Nathan, the detective had told Jenny, had walked out of the woods at the edge of the town somewhere around 3 in the afternoon. Ironically, it was around the same time anyone had last seen him all those years ago. According to an eyewitness, he'd swayed on his feet with a bewildered look on his face. They'd asked him if he was all right, if he needed help, and who he was. But Nathan hadn't spoken a word. Jenny breathed, her eyes taking in her boy's changed face. It wasn't just that he'd aged, his face was riddled with scars, both small and large. It brought tears to Jenny's eyes. The young man in front of her gave no indication that he'd heard her. His hollow eyes remained passively on her face. "Why won't he speak?" she asked, turning towards the officer. The man just shook his head. "We'd hoped you would get him to speak." Then it was a blur. People filed in to attach strange machines to her son. Several therapists had come and gone from the interrogation room to ask him question after question. Nathan hadn't said a word, had simply stared at his mother when they'd probed him with needles. And finally, the police had granted Jenny's wish to be alone with her son. "He might be violent," they'd argued. "He won't hurt me," Jenny had answered. "He is my son. Do you remember?" Jenny started, tears flowing freely down her cheeks now. Carefully, as not to spook him, she reached for his hand. Nathan let her touch him, a small twitch in his fingers the only reaction. "It was your birthday. You were supposed to open your big present after school," she continued, her thumbs softly stroking his. In the quiet room, Nathan's voice suddenly pierces the air. "Mom," he croaks, rough and unfamiliar. Jenny's tears double, each drop heavy with emotion. Nathan's gaze meets hers, a silent understanding passing between them. But Jenny's strong and clear voice fills the room. "He's been through enough," she states, locking eyes with each officer. Her words paint Nathan not as a suspect, but as a victim of circumstances beyond his control. The officers exchange looks, their resolve softening. Finally nodding, they step back, granting Jenny's request for space, though their presence lingers just beyond the door. With the officers' retreat, semblance of privacy returns. They remain nearby, their silent agreement with Jenny a testament to her persuasion. Jenny turns back to Nathan, her stance relaxed yet protective. The officers' proximity, a quiet promise of safety, underscores the room's changed atmosphere. Jenny and Nathan are alone again, but the officer's watchful presence remains a silent guardian. In the regained quiet, Jenny leans closer to Nathan. "It's just us now," she murmurs, her voice a soothing balm against the room's cold edges. Her words are simple and direct, meant to comfort Nathan. whose eyes flicker with a mixture of relief and residual fear. As Jenny's eyes light up as she shares, "It's your birthday today," her voice carries a warmth, promising a return to their special morning tradition, pancakes drenched in maple syrup. The mention of this small ritual seems to bridge the years lost between them, offering a glimpse of normalcy and the comfort of old routines amidst the uncertainty of their current situation. Nathan's reaction to the mention of pancakes is subtle but profound. A small smile, fleeting yet unmistakable, crosses his face. It's a smile that momentarily erases the years of hardship, revealing the child Jenny once knew. "Mom," he says, the word unfamiliar and hoarse from disuse, but it rings with an echo of recognition and connection between them. His next words are simple, "I got lost," yet they carry a weight of unspoken experiences. Jenny, with a mix of determination and hope, manages to convince the officers. Mulmer Sims, if they agree to let Nathan go home with her, the idea being that familiar surroundings might unlock the memories buried deep within him. Jenny believes in the power of home, of its walls and smells, to bring back the son she once knew. Once home, Jenny immerses herself in the task of making pancakes, hoping the familiar scent will comfort Nathan. The aroma fills the kitchen, a smell that used to herald joyful mornings. Their moment of tentative peace is broken when a police officer arrives, asking to speak with Jenny outside. Nathan's reaction is immediate, his hand reaching out to grasp hers. The officer, looking uncomfortable, shares startling news: another person has come out of the woods asking for Nathan. Jenny's mind races, trying to piece together what this means. Yet how could someone else be involved? Nathan, sensing the shift, tightens his grip on Jenny's hand. Nathan's reaction, a mixture of fear and confusion, compounds her worry. He shakes his head, murmuring "Mom" over and over, "It's over," as if the word could shield him from whatever is coming. Jenny becomes his anchor, a source of stability amidst the chaos. Nathan sits, visibly struggling with his emotions. He glances towards the door, then back at his mother, torn. Jenny's presence has always been his safe harbor, but the voices outside threaten to breach the walls of security they've built in these brief moments together. Amidst the cacophony, a familiar yet hauntingly foreign voice cuts through the tension. Nathan freezes, the color draining from his face as if he's seen a ghost. The voice, belonging to someone from a past long buried, sends a shockwave through the room. Jenny's voice is a whisper, laden with disbelief and a flicker of hope. And become froze, which speak. The officer moves, ready to confront the source of the intrusion, but Jenny and Nathan are rooted to the spot, captivated by the familiarity of the voice. A man steps forward, his appearance worn by the elements, yet his eyes soften at the sight before him. This ragged figure, standing at the threshold of the home he once knew, locks eyes with Jenny and Nathan. The air is charged with a complex mix of emotions as the long-lost father and husband return, his wild look contrasting sharply with the warmth flickering in his gaze. Nathan's voice cuts through the tension. "Dad," he says, the word heavy with years of unspoken stories. Jenny echoes, Jack, her voice a blend of disbelief and recognition. The officer pauses, understanding the gravity of the moment unfolding. Jack's identity as Nathan's father and Jenny's husband is confirmed, unraveling the mystery that enveloped their disappearance. Jack begins to share their tale, a story of a son's quest to reunite with his woodland-dwelling father. What started as a child's adventure turned into a tragic narrative of loss and survival. The story of their life in the woods, a testament to resilience and survival, unfolds. Nathan and Jack, lost in the vast expanse of woods and mountains, wandered for years. Amidst the wilderness, they were oblivious to their true relationship, each to the other a companion in survival. Amidst the dense forest, Nathan stumbled upon an old, worn family photo. This discovery sparked a fierce determination to return home to the mother he barely remembered. The photograph, a beacon of hope amidst the uncertainty, propelled him on a perilous journey back to Jenny. While navigating the treacherous path home, Nathan found himself lost once more in the unforgiving wilderness. He recounts the days of solitude, each one a battle against nature and his own fears. With his parents and the officers gathered around, Nathan delves into his ordeal. He describes the fall that left him injured, his struggles to find sustenance, and his reliance on the stars for direction. As Nathan's story concludes, the room is enveloped in silence. Jenny's tears flow freely, a mother's heartache for her child's suffering. Nathan's gaze shifts to Jack, who sighs deeply and takes a weary seat. It's Jack's turn now to share his own journey, to unravel the tale of how he survived and what led him back to the family he thought he'd lost forever. Jack's voice was steady as he recounted the early days of his disappearance. He shared how he got lost, the futile attempts to find his way back, and the eventual acceptance of his new reality. Building a small wooden cabin became his project, a semblance of home in the wild, a testament to his resilience and determination to survive against the odds. He then spoke of the day he found Nathan, a scared boy alone in the woods. Without knowing the boy was his son, Jack's instincts to protect and teach kicked in. Together, they learned to live off the land, never straying too far from the safety of the cabin. The day Nathan disappeared was the day Jack's world shifted again. Returning to find Nathan gone and discovering the family photo was a moment of revelation. Fueled by determination, Jack tracked Nathan's steps, his survival skills now serving the purpose of reunion. Like a race, his journey led him back to the village, and memories guided him to the doorstep of the home he had once shared with Jenny. After years of separation, Jack's heart was heavy with the anticipation of facing the family he thought he'd lost forever. The room was thick with emotion as Jack, Jenny, and Nathan embraced, tears flowing freely as their stories intertwined into a single narrative of loss, survival, and reunion. The police's suggestion for a health check seemed distant against the backdrop of their rediscovered family bond. And sitting down to pancakes, Nathan finally unwrapping his long-awaited gift, symbolized not just a return to family traditions but the beginning of healing and a future together.